Hey there, campers. While we're gathering around the campfire, we just want to let you know we are not what you would call experts. What we do have is a love for researching and discussing the lore of cryptids, creatures,
and an occasional spooky woman that can eat our soul.
So if you are in need of immediate help with the chupacabra in your yard, please consult someone else.
Also, this podcast isn't for kids. These campfire stories can contain graphic and explicit content that may not be suitable for young campers, so listener discretion is advised.
Oh, hey, campers. Oh, let me take these off first.
You want some nice rattles?
Yeah. Hey, campers. My name's Kimmy, and I'm here with my co-host, Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Aloreing, our folklore podcast where we tell you the history and stories of different legends and lore just from all over.
Whoa, and I'm taking off some of my jewelry now because I wear crystals and they make lots of clinky sounds.
It's like a little bit of ASMR, though, you know? It could be worse.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, that sounds kind of nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of nice things, Ryan, what did you find Aloreing this week?
Kimmy, I will tell you what. Ask me how productive I was this week.
How productive were you this week?
Literally not at all, because Baldur's Gate came out last week, and my friends talked me into getting it this last weekend, so like a week ago from today.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it's so freaking good. It's for our non-gamer audience, it's just D&D. Like it's just a video game D&D, and you get to like fully make a character, and it's so much fun. I'm doing like 5 campaigns simultaneously with different groups of friends because it's only up to 4 people.
Oh, you can play with other people?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's literally just, and I heard, I don't know how it works yet, but I heard like eventually you're going to be able to like make your own campaigns inside their game, so you can like run a campaign for your friends. It's so cool. It's so fun. Yeah.
Oh no, man, I don't need another video game.
I know. That's what I said. It's been making school and work and podcasting hard because I've just been wanting to play D&D, and then I went and played D&D in person today, and I was just like, man, Baldur's Gate's a lot better.
Man, okay, you're the first I'm hearing about it.
So. Yeah, it's so good. Highly, even if you're not a gamer, like if you like D&D, it's so good because you don't need to be good at video games because it's literally just D&D. There's no like fast action stuff. It's all turn based, and it's fun.
Man. Oh no, it sounds like another purchase I'm going to make.
Yep, it's worth every penny. It's going to be game of the year, hands down.
I didn't even know you could play with people. I feel that's such a...
You can have 4 people, so including yourself 4, but there's mods out there that put you up to 8 people, but the mods kind of break the game a little bit, but
yeah,
the mods are only going to get better the longer the game's out, so.
Right, and especially there's something about like I feel the D&D community where it's very sharing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're very like, F the man. Like
Yeah.
we're going to make our own stories, you know?
Yeah,
Like I feel there's resources for everything, so if there's a game that provides those tools, it's definitely going to get there pretty quick, you know?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Oh, man, yeah, I didn't know. Damn it, because the thing is, like, then I could play D&D with, like, my brothers and my dad.
Exactly.
And then I could play, like, with you guys. Oh,
yeah.
fucking hell.
That's been the fun part, like, playing with my friends, like, because I've tried to play D&D with my friends for so long. Like I have the
Yes.
group I play with, but like my other friends, like we just can't get into a campaign because it's so hard to schedule people. But with
Yes.
Baldur's Gate, there's no commitment. Like you could hop on for an hour and then save, and then like you're good. Like
Yeah, there's no. It's nice because everyone can be a player. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And I feel that's the hard thing is because if you DM and people
yeah.
are
There's no
like,
DM.
there's like as a DM, you're like, I want to like make a good story that people have fun with, you know. And then
Yeah,
if people are always canceling, it like just takes a
yeah. It's
toll,
hard.
you know. But that's just no toll. Like
Yeah.
you're following the story. Oh God damn it, Ryan! I
Yep.
really.
So anyway, get Baldur's Gate, and
Yeah, I'll
we'll
be
start a
on that.
campaign. So
Can I make a merfolk on there? That's the real.
there's no merfolk, but
Okay.
there's all the like all of the base races and
Okay.
that you would get just in the player handbook without any of the expansions. Those are all in there.
Oh, damn it,
Yeah. So
Ryan.
I have one with a tiefling, I have 2 wood elves, and then I have a dwarf. So yeah,
This sounds so fun.
yeah.
Oh no. Okay, it's fine. Well, yeah. Damn
And the
it.
best part, you can make your characters really hot.
Oh fuck.
So I mean,
I'm looking at my bank account right now, and I'm
yeah.
like, do I really need that many groceries this week?
Nah, you don't.
Nah,
Just skip
right?
dinner one night and buy Baldur's Gate.
You know, that's how I'm feeling with it right now. I was like, I can get sushi this week, or I can buy Boulder's Gate. You know
Baldur's
what I
Gate's
mean?
way better than sushi. I'll tell you what. But anyway, what did you find Aloreing this week?
Man, it's just I think we're both in gaming modes right now because I have found my way back on the Hogwarts Legacy because I've been
Nice.
making all of my decorations for my Hogwarts party that I do.
Yeah.
And I've been watching the movies and there's like only so many potions they have and I'm like I want more. I want like potions with objects in them that
Yeah.
relate to the universe. So I've been like playing the game and like taking notes as I like get plants and like making themed bottles. Like
Oh, that's fun.
there's like one that's like mallow seeds leaves because it's
Yeah.
like little like green yellow leaves and I put it like in a green jar. And that one looks really cool. And I have like wax seal stuff, so I've been able to like wax seal my potion bottles. But they look like so legit right now. So I've
Nice.
been heavy on the crafting some witch bottles, and we
Yeah.
did D&D at my house today. And I was like, it looks like a crafty wizard witch kind of vibe in the house right now, you guys. I'm sorry. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
like they're like, ooh, like mystical because they see my parties. I'm like, no, more like a
Yeah.
hoarding witch that's
Yeah.
trying to figure herself out.
Like a crazy witch who like like, cleaning out a little bit.
Yeah, like a witch that has lost it and she's just
Yeah.
trying to like get her life together. So crazy witch is a really good
Yeah.
description of my house right now.
I modded Hogwarts Legacy a little too hard that I stopped having fun with it because I modded it so much that
damn.
playing without the mods stopped being fun.
Oh,
But it kind
yeah.
of broke the game.
Spoken like a true Gryffindor. That's all
Yeah,
I
like
say.
my Griffin was Hagrid. I had a pistol. It was a lot.
It was so funny. I was talking to one of my friends because she kind of got me back into it because she just got it and she played it and she beat it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. I was like, well, how did you enjoy it? And I was like, wow, I played the game so differently. Because she's like, yeah, I kind of went evil Slytherin vibes.
Yeah.
And I was like, and she didn't tell me like a bunch, but she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I've been saving the animals because it makes me happy. She's like, we play two
Very different games, yeah.
completely different games.
Have you seen the Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh no.
Oh,
What?
well, anyway, my broom is Daniel Radcliffe from Swiss Army Man. And it's just some things you can't come back from.
Once you ride Daniel Radcliffe,
Yeah,
you can't go back.
and Hagrid, same time. Yeah, he'll change you. He'll change you.
Okay, well, I want to check out these mods, but speaking of crazy things,
Yeah, there we go.
should we get into this? week's episode topic.
Yeah, I guess we could. Am I supposed to wolf howl? No, we're supposed to campfire transition.
Just campfire noise. You use the wolf howl too many damn times. It's once during lore report. Only time.
Fasten the chamber. Hide the red key. Cover the portal that eyes may not see. Get thee to market, to wedding and prayer. Labor or revel, the charmer is there. That was by Rose Terry Coke. Kimmy, what are we talking about?
Oh, goodness.
Brace yourself, people.
This is one of those episodes that I'm not quite ready for.
Yeah.
Oh, so listen, folks. Dating in today's day and age isn't easy. And though many of us like to romanticize love during the Middle Ages of kings, queens, princes, knights, and fae, the sad reality is dating at this time wasn't any easier. From plague to classism, things we still currently deal with, they had their fair share of dating problems to worry about. One major issue during this time was people hiding their true intent from pursuing a relationship, which leads us to this week's topic. Now, this week we will be talking about Bluebeard, a vengeful nobleman from France. And for all of our lovely audio listeners, if you want to check out this week's illustration, you can head to our YouTube channel, Aloreing Podcast, or it's Aloreing. You go to our website, aloreing.com, and you'll find it. Or you can go to our blog, or you can go to our Instagram. And I did a bottle with blood and jewels. We will learn why I did that.
Before we get started, Kimmy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed were you to find out that this week's episode is not pirates?
I was so disappointed. The only reason I put this as an episode topic suggestion is because I was like, oh, it's a pirate. Yeah. I would love to learn more about a pirate. That was it.
So remember last week you said, yeah, and like next week we're going to finally be doing something light. We're going to be doing like a pirate episode. And I remember looking at the calendar and seeing Bluebeard, and I was like, that's not a pirate. But I was like, but Kimmy knows the schedule better than me. Maybe we're doing something else. Nope.
And I'm honestly, I was not the brightest child in school. So if we ever talked about Bluebeard, it went completely over my head. Yeah. And I realize now why. But I swear it was like a Blackbeard situation.
No, so very different.
Coming in with no knowledge of it, I was like, hell yeah, we're going to talk about sexy bearded man and the sea. And no, so I'm mad. There was some rage in these notes.
I had a feeling, yeah.
A lot of it may have been drunken feminine rage and my ancestors screaming through me. So prepare yourself. For those that don't know Bluebeard, I've taken out a lot of the heavy trigger warning stuff. The story will be a little bit trigger warning, but we're going to talk about other aspects of it because sexual assault stuff is really serious and I do not want to go into it. And consent's key, peeps. Like, moral of the story. Anyway, this is going to be great. I'm mad. I have a little bit of liquor in me. It's great. Everything's fine. So let's do this, and then I can go watch Pirates of the Caribbean after and feel something of joy. So, the legend of this villainous protagonist was used as a cautionary tale told throughout France at the time, and it wasn't long until these stories were told through different parts of Europe as well. Though not as poppin' as a legend today due to its problematic morals, it shows how not all cautionary tales have good messages, and as time changes, sometimes we need to change the stories as well. So, as we dive into this, people that know Bluebeard are probably like, oh, sweet, sweet summer child Kimmy, I can't believe you thought this was a pirate. And I just want to know, we're definitely going to get into it, but we're going to kind of stay away from the more uncomfortable things because there's a place and time for it, and as long as we just know stories should change with time, I feel like we could learn a lot from this. So it's like good to talk about.
Yeah.
But oh, we'll see. Ryan's just ready. He knew. He saw the show notes. Okay, origins. So, who is Bluebeard and where did he come from? It is believed that the character Bluebeard can be derived from a collection of horrifying events about noblemen and insecure husbands who committed horrible murders in Brittany during 15th century France. So, the first one, look at this guy on our slideshow. If you've ever wanted to punch someone, like, that's a punchable man right there if I've ever seen him. He has the haircut of Lord Farquaad,
Yeah,
but
I'm
he's
pretty sure
tall.
that is Lord Farquaad.
Is it really?
He might. I mean, we don't know how tall he is. It's hard to tell. All of his stuff could just be miniature.
That's fair. He could be on stilts right now for the
those are actually
painting.
pebbles, not rocks.
It's to 3/4 scale, actually.
Yeah.
So, one of the possible origins of Bluebeard is the terrible Gilles de Race. During the 15th century, this man worked as a knight who fought alongside Joan of Arc in her campaigns against the English. It quickly led to him becoming a powerful nobleman and political figure in France. He was later convicted as a murderous witch, hung and burned for being involved in the sexually driven, brutal murders of children rather than women.
Huh.
It's believed that his unspeakable crimes were based on Bluebeard's story, changing his child victims into wives as a possible explanation for this origin. So, I didn't want to get too much into Jonah of Arc because, man, there is so much to it. But pretty much someone alongside them was doing really awful things. And this was the guy. And again, I feel like we're not so much, we do historical like aspects of the show, but that's not even really a folklore figure. You know what I mean? It's just an evil person. So
Yeah.
Evil is like the whole point of this. And then the next person is King Conomor. Yeah. So the next possible origin is Brenton King Conomor of Accursed. Word around the village was the king was evil and had killed his previous wives the moment they became pregnant. It wasn't long till the king decided he wanted to give marriage another go and wed the beautiful Tryphene. While married to her, she had ghosts warn her of how he murdered all her pregnant wives before. And once she became pregnant, she became fearful. One night, she fled the castle in an attempt to escape before he found her and he found out about the child. Sadly, he was able to catch up to her and behead her that same evening. Although this was tragic, all was not lost. Apparently, Saint Gildas miraculously restored her life when he brought her back to Conmore, and the walls of the castle collapsed and killed the king.
Oh.
So, now though it's hard to believe all the story is true, Conomor was a real king believed to have killed his wives due to his fear of having the throne taken from him. There were also some rumors by the locals that he could have been a werewolf. So, who knows? Maybe he just didn't want werewolf babies. Maybe there was like something that happened in pregnancy. Or he was just evil and crazy and didn't want his throne taken over. So
a lot of lead.
Yeah. They painted those walls thick with lead paint. Those castles were looking like an 80s home for sale, you know what I mean? So, of course, there are some older possible explanations for where this tale comes from, such as the Roman myth of Cupid and the Psyche, but one thing is Bluebeard wasn't mentioned until 15th century France, and that's when this legend really started to pop off. So, the most famous surviving version of which was written by Charles Perrault and the first published by Barbin in Paris, 1697, in Histories au Comtes du Tepse. Oh, I can't speak French, so that's what we get for that one.
Oh,
Originally an oral folktale, the story was the first written down and published in 1697 by Charles. The French author, regarding as the father of the fairy tale, was the first to record many of our beloved stories, from like Cinderella to Puss in Boots.
nice.
Despite Bluebeard's grisly plot, the tale remains hugely popular throughout the centuries. So this was like his dark story. This was like his emo phase story
Okay.
that he wrote in the book. And of course, like Cinderella, there's like more dark undertones to this, but I feel this one just really takes the cake.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about French folklore. We'll probably learn more as we do more episodes. But I feel like it's way darker than I would expect it to be. I would expect it to be like a little bit more lighthearted. But
No, that doesn't surprise me. I mean,
yeah,
the Crusades was a lot of French people. Like,
that that's fair. I feel like I grew up like when we grew up in the 90s, it was very
yeah.
romanticized. So it like kind of like throws me through a little bit of a loop, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where was I? Okay, so to this day, the legend of Bluebeard shined more on the light of him being the villain than the woman being murdered for being curious. This legend continues to evolve with every adaptation and varies from one region to another, which is what helped keep this legend alive for so long. So that's all I kind of got for like origins, because I didn't want to get too deep into every man that this could have
Yeah.
possibly been. And then there's some theories that Bluebeard could have been an inspiration for Beauty and the Beast too,
Oh. Huh.
because
That's definitely a cleaned up a little bit version of that.
yeah, it's definitely the more romanticized version.
Yeah.
And we'll see why as we kind of get in the stories and we talk later a bit about it. But it's definitely it made for a good bone structure for a certain type of protagonist, which is why I feel like it's so prevalent in folklore to this day. Like
Yeah.
evil protagonist, but makes for good story writing. So I get it. um, so anyway, Bluebeard is used as a word to describe the crime of killing either a series of women or to seduce and abandon a series of women. Another term used to describe a woman's serial murder was Lady Bluebird. So just a little bit more spice on that, I
Yeah.
guess. And that's all I kind of got for the name. Like, it's just there's not much to it. Just called Bluebeard. Um, and now that we have the background, we got all that out of the way, I'm gonna hand it over to Ryan to tell us the famous story of Bluebeard, written by Charles Perrault. Perrault.
All right. And we got 3 voice actor roles in this one. Who would you like to be?
Oh man, I don't know, Bluebeard or the wife.
I'll be Bluebeard. You could be the wife. Um
You should do Sister Anne though.
okay,
I
I'll
feel
be the
like.
sister. All right. This is Bluebeard written by Charles Perrault.
Oh, there you go. I was butchering that.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a man who had fine houses, both in town and country, a deal of silver and gold plates, carved furniture, coaches gilded all over. But unhappily, this man had a blue beard, which made him so ugly and so terrible that all the women and girls ran away from him. Spoilers, it wasn't the beard. One of his neighbors, a lady of quality, had 2 daughters who were perfect beauties. He asked for one of them in marriage, leaving to her the choice of which she would bestow on him. They would neither of them have him, and they sent him back and forth to one another, neither being able to make up her mind to marry a man who had a blue beard. Another thing which made them averse to him was that he had already married several wives, and nobody knew what had become of them. Bluebeard, to become better acquainted, took them with their mother and the 3 or 4 of their best friends with some young people of a neighborhood to one of the country seats where they stayed a whole week. So he brought them on a little bit of a vacation.
He was like, if they're going to say no to me, maybe if I, I don't know, finesse it a little
take them to the
bit.
countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where no one can hear their screams.
Yeah. There was nothing going on but pleasure parties, hunting, fishing, dancing, mirth, and feasting. Take that first part how you will. Nobody went to bed, but all passed the night in playing pranks on each other. In short, everything succeeded so well that the youngest daughter began to think that the beard of the master of the house was not so very blue, and that he was a very civil gentleman. So as soon as they returned home, the marriage was concluded. So the younger sister fell for him. After about a month, Bluebeard told his wife that he was obliged to take a country journey for 6 weeks at least, upon business of great importance. He desired her to amuse herself well in his absence, to send for her friends to take them to the country if she pleased, and live well wherever she was. Here, said he, are the keys of the 2 great warehouses wherein I have my best furniture. These are of the room where I keep my silver and gold plates, which is not in everyday use. These open my safes, which hold my money, both gold and silver. These are my caskets of jewels. This is the master key to all my apartments. But as for this little key, it is the key of the closet at the end of the great gallery on the ground floor. Open them all, go everywhere, but as for that little closet, I forbid you to enter it. I promise you surely that if you open it, there is nothing that may not expect from my anger. So,
listen, 2 things.
Uh-huh.
One, the fact that both of the sisters are like, we gotta get married, and then they were like passing back and forth. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Love that. Second, I don't know who wouldn't be curious.
Yeah, he could have just not given her the little key.
Right.
And she probably, well, and I don't want to spoil anything. Anyway, she promised to obey exactly all his orders, and he, after having embraced her, got into his coach and proceeded on his journey. Her neighbors are good friends, but did not stay to be sent by their newly married lady. So great was their impatience to see all the riches of her house, not daring to come while her husband was there because of his blue beard, which frightened them. They at once ran through all their rooms, closets, wardrobes, which were so fine and rich, and seemed to surpass all others.
That would be me, though. I am so nosy, and I hate it so much.
As soon as he left, they're like, let's look everywhere.
They all like pop out of the bushes. Like, is we going?
Yeah.
Can we come in? Can we go in? Take
So they went up into the warehouse, where was the best and richest furniture. They could not sufficiently admire the number of beauty and tapestry, beds, couches, cabinets, stands, tables, and looking glasses, in which you might see yourself from head to foot. So big old glasses. Some of them were framed with glass, others with silver, plain, and gold. The most beautiful and most magnificent ever seen. They ceased not to praise and envy the happiness of their friend, who in the meantime was not at all amused by looking upon all these rich things, because of her impatience to go and open the closet on the ground floor. Her curiosity was so great that, without considering how uncivil it was to leave her guests, she went down a little back staircase, with such excessive haste that twice or thrice she came near breaking her neck. Having reached the closet door, she was sprinting. She stood still for some time, thinking of her husband's orders and considering the unhappiness might attend her if she was disobedient. But the temptation was so strong, she could not overcome it. She then took the little key and opened the door. Trembling, at first she could not see anything plainly, because the windows were shut. After some moments, she began to perceive that several dead women were scattered about the floor. These were the wives whom Bluebeard had married and murdered, one after the other, because they did not obey his order about the closet on the ground floor. She thought she surely would die for fear, and the key, which she pulled out of the lock, fell out of her hand. After having somewhat recovered from the shock, she picked up the key, locked the door, and went upstairs into her chamber to compose herself, but she could not rest. She was much frightened. Fair enough. Having observed... go ahead.
I just like... Who wouldn't be curious is like my real question.
I'd have done the same thing.
Yeah, because you're married a man that his 7 wives have gone missing. So there's, I think, a part of a thing that makes Bluebeard so attractive is there's a mystery to him.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like, they're like, oh, he's scary and he's terrifying, but maybe there's like something to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would be like, maybe he's really has a room of puppies he loves or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. A room of puppies.
Like there, or maybe he likes to quilt. I don't know. Or like he has a knitting passion he's very ashamed of, and I could be the one that tells him it's okay. That's how I think. Because like it's curiosity, but I also think it's like a justification for like who they are. So when people are like, didn't he murder his wife? You could be like, no, because you know it for sure, you know. Oh, sorry. Okay. I have a lot of feelings with this, and I'm just like holding them in.
So she went upstairs to compose herself. So after observing the key of the closet was stained, she tried 2 or 3 times to wipe off the stain, but the stain would not come out. In vain, she washed it. She even rubbed it with soap and sand. The stain still remained, for the key was a magic key and could never make it quite clean. When the stain was gone from one side, it came back on the other. Bluebeard returned from his journey that same evening and said he had received letters upon the road informing him that the business which called him away ended to his advantage. His wife did all she could to convince him she was delighted at his speedy return. The next morning he asked for his keys, which she gave him, but with such trembling hands that he easily guessed what happened. "How is it," said he, "that the key of my closet is not among the rest?"
"I must certainly have left it upstairs upon the table."
"Do not fail," said Bluebeard, "to bring me it presently." After having put off doing it several times, she was forced to bring him the key. Bluebeard, having examined it, said to the wife, "How come the stain is upon the key?"
"I don't not know,"
cried the poor woman, paler than death. "You do not know," replied Bluebeard. "Very well, you very well know. You wished you could go into the cabinet. Very well, madam, you shall go in and take your place among the ladies you saw there."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she threw herself. Go ahead.
He said, "I would be angry with you, not that I would murder you."
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Same thing to him.
He was baiting her.
She threw herself weeping at her husband's feet and begged his pardon from all the signs of a true repentance for her disobedience. She would have melted a rock, so beautiful and sorrowful was she, but Bluebeard had a heart harder than any stone. "You must die, madam," said he, "and that at once."
"Since I must die,"
answered she, looking upon him with her eyes all bathed in tears.
I need to be more sadder, but I'm just mad with this. "Give me some little time to say my prayers."
"I give you," replied Bluebeard, "half a quarter of an hour, but not 1 moment more." Half a quarter of an hour. What's that, like half a quarter?
Minutes?
No, 15 minutes would be a quarter, so like 7 minutes.
Oh, damn.
When she was alone, she called out to her sister and said to her,
"Oh, Sister Anne,"
for that was her name,
"go up, I beg you, to the top of the tower. Look, for my brothers are not coming. They promised me they'd come today. And if you see them, give them a sign to make haste."
Her sister Anne went up to the tower, and the poor afflicted wife cried out from time to time,
"And Sister Anne, do you see anyone coming?"
And Anne said, "I see nothing but the sun, which makes dust, and the grass, which look green." In the meanwhile, Bluebeard, holding the great saber in his hand, cried to his wife as loud as he could, "Come down instantly, or I shall come up to you."
Jesus Christ. One moment longer, if you please. And sister, and dost thou see anybody coming?
"I see," replied Sister Anne, "a great dust which comes from the side."
Okay. Are they my brothers?
"Alas, no, my sister, I see a flock of sheep." "Will you not come down?" cried Bluebeard.
One moment longer. And sister Anne, dost thou see nobody coming?
"I see," said she, "2 horsemen, but they are yet a great way off."
God be praised.
Replied the poor wife.
I'm just so mad. That's why I keep laughing. They are my brothers. I will make them a sign as well as I can for them to make haste.
Then Bluebeard bawled out so loud he made the whole house tremble. The distressed wife came down and threw herself at his feet, all in tears, with her hair about her shoulder. "All of this is no help to you," said Bluebeard. "You must die." Then, taking hold of her hair with one hand and lifting up his sword in the air with the other, he was about to take off her head. The poor lady, turning about him, looked at him with dying eyes, desired him to afford her one little moment to her thoughts. "No, no," said he, "command thyself to God," and again lifting his arms. At the moment there was such a loud knocking at the gate that Bluebeard stopped suddenly. The gate was open, and presently entered 2 horsemen, who, with swords in hand, ran directly to Bluebeard. He knew them to be his wife's brothers, one a dragoon, the other a musketeer. He ran away immediately, but the 2 brothers pursued him closely, that they overtook him before he could get steps of the porch, where they ran their swords through his body and left him dead. The poor wife was almost as dead as her husband, and had not strength enough to arise and welcome her brothers. Bluebeard had no heirs, and so his wife, becoming mistress of all his estate, she made use of one portion of it to marry her sister Anne to a younger gentleman who had loved her a long while, another portion to buy a captain's commission for her brothers, and the rest to marry herself a very worthy gentleman who made her forget the time that had passed with Bluebeard. So, a happy ending for once.
A wonderful ending.
Yeah.
A beautiful ending.
A little scarring, I guess, but
a little trauma.
Yeah.
Jeez. Man, and listen, like, I get mad in that story just because I don't like Bluebeard, and
he's in my
head. In my head, I'm like, I thought you were a pirate.
You're not Blackbeard at all. I thought I just misread the name.
So, like, that's why I do actually like the story. It has a great ending, which like totally makes up for. Yeah, when I saw the brothers come in, and like, what was it, a dragoon, and then the other was a musketeer. I'm like, boy's gonna get fucked. Like, I was so hyped. I was like, oh my god, like reading quicker.
Yeah.
So, very, very satisfying end to a story, which doesn't happen a lot in folklore. I feel.
No, we don't see that very often. I mean, I guess for those who don't know, the dragoon is like a cavalry in the army. So, like, they're both soldiers, I guess, was the gist.
Yeah. One's like a soldier for, like, government, and one is, like, kind of like doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Is a good way to kind of think
But
of
yeah,
it.
you know, good things, I guess, all around, except for, like, the 7 wives before her. But, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel better.
That was my story.
Oh, okay. I always feel better when there's a good ending. Too.
Yeah.
I was filled with so much rage, I forgot the ending, so that was...
Yeah. And if you want a happy ending for yourselves, stay tuned for this commercial break that we're about to go on right about now.
Yeah, that was the sound.
Yeah, I wanted to do a wolf's howl, but I decided not to. And for our YouTube listeners, don't worry, you don't have to listen to a random commercial. We just have our little knickknacks up on the screen here. Visit aloreingshop.com, help us out. This little Mothman with a cowboy hat is so good, and that TikTok did so well. It was so funny.
I'm always surprised with what sticks on TikTok.
And the cowboy needs a hat. Yeah. Very adorable. Yeah, get yourself a sticker, get yourself a hat. The cold season's coming up, so those corduroy hats they're better than beanies.
They're more stylish in my opinion.
They are.
They like really pull an outfit together.
Yeah, and they're very warm. They could be worn with I like to wear mine with casual clothes because it brings down the casual a little bit with how being trashy,
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Corduroy hats like gold jewelry, just add it in your outfit
a little
bit more.
But yeah, we'll get back to our show, but visit aloreingshop.com and let's go learn more about not pirate Bluebeard. This podcast got the dog in it. All right.
Ryan just will never stop the wolf howl sound. He tricked me first. He's like, "Oh, let's do the radio sound for a transition." Nope. We come back. He's like, "Psych!" Oh my goodness. Well, welcome back, campers. We hope you enjoyed that little break. We are now going to talk about the appearance and history of Bluebeard. I put a picture that shows how I feel about him. That is Bluebeard.
Why his feet look like that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's evil. That's rooting into the ground, so he's closer to hell. I can't explain it. I can't describe this picture really. You just have to come to our YouTube to see this photo. He's a very lanky, cartoonish villain. He kind of has Jafar vibes in a way.
Tim Burton's Jafar is what he
that's great. That's actually a really wonderful way to explain it. So, though called Bluebeard, his beard actually appears extremely dark black and misshapen. So not blue, which is quite interesting to me. He dresses as a wealthy man with the finest of clothes as a way to distract from his awful, awful personality. I don't want to talk more about his appearance. We're just going to go right into his behaviors because
not good.
I don't like him. I just don't like him. Regarding Bluebeard's personality, this is one villain I do not give the benefit of the doubt due to his toxic traits. So, Bluebeard comes off as an overpowering masculine figure or quote-unquote alpha male in today's terms. Never thought I'd say that on the show, but here we are.
It's another Sigma Grind Set podcast.
What is it? Ooh, another white boy podcast. Ooh. Do you know what I'm talking about? But, so he has all the masculinity with none of the softer, sympathetic characteristics, which make for a really great partner. So he cares only for himself and his image, and since he knows he can't get a bride due to his awful personality and his unattractive appearance, he uses his wealth as a way to lure and trap women into marriage. And he doesn't even do it to get the woman. He does it for the family to be okay with the woman coming to him.
Yeah.
So it's not he's like, oh, if you marry me, you'll get all this wealth. He's like, hey, if you give me your daughter's hand, she'll be in a castle.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
She will, not you.
Yeah. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah, right my castle.
There is no mother-in-law suite. There's no father-in-law suite. You're on your own.
Well, there is one. It's in the basement, locked behind.
It's in the closet.
Oh,
it's so dark. We're just struggling through this, you guys. Oh, woo! So then once married, he doesn't show compassion or love towards his partners. Instead, he manipulates them into listening to him And if they go against his wishes, he's no longer able to manipulate them. He just murders them. So
Nice.
there's no rhyme or reason to why he murders his wives. Nothing at all. He just seems to do it to show how powerful he is, which isn't a good reason at all to murder anyone ever.
I'd argue there's not many good reasons for it, but especially not this one.
No, if you're power tripping and you murder, no, don't murder people. That's going to be a takeaway.
Just stop murdering people.
Don't murder people, folks. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we even have to say that as a takeaway. But here we are. All right, so now into like some events and things surrounding Bluebeard, because that's all I got for personality. Just trash. So with how awful Bluebeard is, you would think the story is a message to men about finding someone that loves you for who you are and how you shouldn't manipulate your partner and murder them because it's wrong. But alas, the story was used as a cautionary tale for women.
What?
Oh, here we are. Oh, good old folklore. There's some dark corners in folklore. I like to think of folklore as a beautiful castle, and there are just like some rooms that you just like ironically have a key and lock. You just really you want to avoid if you want it to be romanticized.
It's like the old dusty storage cabinet.
Yeah. It squeaks when you open it. Kind of smells like moldu. Like it's just not a good time. But you got to learn all about the castle, so you have to explore those rooms. So at the time, the story was used to tell how a female's curiosity can lead to dire consequences, especially when acting against their own husband's will. While many scholars say the story is used to encourage wives to be obedient, some suggest the story encourages women to blindly follow patriarchal rules that breaking them can lead to society punishments that are as great as death. So, though times haven't changed much and it seems victim blaming is still prevalent in today's society, thankfully we can now look at the story for how problematic it really is. Looking at it as Bluebeard being an evil husband and the villain that manipulates women and murders them instead of a misunderstood nice guy that's a little bit unattractive, helps shift the blame to who's really at fault for the awful crimes. Because, surprise, being curious isn't a crime, and it's not a reason to murder your partner. So, again, don't murder people, folks. I want you to leave understanding. Do not murder people by the end of this episode.
Quite a change of pace from you calling to murder people like 2 episodes ago. But we'll let it slide.
Growth comes in all shapes and sizes, right?
I don't need to disavow anything this episode so far. I'm loving it.
I am trying to grow. And you know what? Maybe next week we talk about sirens, and I completely
and we're right back on the murder train.
We're right back on the murder train. Chugga chugga choo choo. You know what I mean? But today we are again,
no murder.
No murder today. No murder.
Stop it.
Put the knife down.
Don't do it.
Think about it.
Unless you're a siren, hit me up.
You can email us at aloreing@gmail.com. My fiance would understand because he gets it. And so that's true love, folks. Woo! Okay, so now we're going to completely shift from Bluebeard the person because the rage needs to leave my soul. And we're going to talk about Bluebeard's castle because why not, right? Yeah. This is our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Bluebeard's castle is a historic property dating back to the 1600s in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. This castle was used as a fort until 1735, since the colony was fearful of an attack by the English during this time. So the Danish West Indies and Guinea Company?
Guinea,
thank you. Guinea Company was taken over by the Danish crown in 1754, and the tower remained government property until 1818, where the tower passed to G.L. Enemy? I almost said Eminem, like
Yeah,
the rapper.
some old English name.
And it has passed from several hands since then. So now,
Now I am in no position to judge another man's castle due to being a renter, but it is a bit of a stretch to call this image a castle. That looks like it looks like somebody's house with that is built like a styrofoam tower.
it looks like when a kid makes a sandcastle with
Yeah.
two blocks.
Yeah.
Two round blocks, and they put like some sand on both sides as
Yeah.
like the wall. That's exactly what it looks like. Like they carved the little door hole and like 4 windows.
Yeah. So I'm judging a little bit, but you know. Anywho.
Listen. So, well, I'll tell you why it was called Bluebeard's Castle. And so during the 19th century, many stories of pirates were passed from one colony to another, and it was believed that a pirate by the name of Bluebeard lived in the tower. Hence, Bluebeard's Castle.
Did you make this up because you were sad this wasn't a pirate story?
No,
are you
no.
Sure.
I am 100%.
All right.
I have explanation.
If I go Google Bluebeard pirate, it's gonna pop up.
Listen, just let me, Ryan, just sit your ass down and let me read. I'm literally going to explain it in the next 2 sentences. You have halted the process.
Okay,
you
go
are.
Go ahead.
Oh, are you sure? Are you good?
Yeah.
You all comfy? Got your drink of water?
No.
You want that?
No.
Want that before I continue? Okay. Just making sure you're comfortable, Ryan. So while there is no historic proof that this castle was ever inhabited...
Called it. Called it. You made it up.
No, listen. While there is no proof this castle was ever inhabited by pirates, there were many legends of pirates, such as Blackbeard, who inhabited the island and lived near the tower.
Near the tower, okay.
Some believe that they have, oh my goodness, I'm so, 1 second. Some believe that it may have even been Blackbeard's castle, but due to miscommunication amongst locals, Bluebeard is what stuck.
So that means Blackbeard might kind of be a bad guy. If the stories are about him.
We're gonna talk about it. The dots are connecting.
The dots are connecting a little bit. Turns out pirates may not have been good people.
Listen, I am here for the romanticized, spicy book version of pirates. And like Jack Sparrow, like people aren't cargo, mate. Like that's the pirate I'm here for. Yeah. In case anyone was like, wow, Kimmy really likes pirates. And no, I like the good noodle
She likes
ones.
the idea of pirates.
I love the idea of pirates. I'd probably loathe them in person, but like I love the romanticized version of it. So now, for all of you that are a bit more on the wanderlust side of life and wanting to venture to Bluebeard's Castle to see it for yourself, you can, for the right price. It's a timeshare resort located near downtown Charlotte, Amelia, in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, don't even need a passport. We can just hop on down.
Yeah, it's a short drive from the beaches, and you have a view of the harbor, so it's pretty neat. Oh. And there has been rumored that there is some ghosty, ghouly activity, so...
I don't think I'd want to meet a Bluebeard ghost.
No. Definitely not. Again, romanticized pirates, that's what I'm here for. And now, this next section is titled, Arg, You Ready? Because he isn't a pirate. Thank you. I will be here all week. And now, I brought up Bluebeard being a pirate, and you know your pirate-loving girl has to dive deep into that. So I also want to start by saying this, and we've been talking about this the whole fucking episode, that he's not a pirate. And I could have bet my life that he was a pirate. If someone was like, Bluebeard isn't a pirate, I would have totally been like, actually,
Actually,
with no knowledge. So
yeah.
I have learned a lot today, and the original story of Bluebeard never said anything about him being a pirate. But to this day, many think he was. So why is that? Well, one theory is because of his connection to piracy, particular to Blackbeard, Captain Edward's tech of Bristol. Many people would simply get Blackbeard and Bluebeard confused with one another. So, in Captain Charles Johnson's published an account of Blackbeard, a general history of pirates in 1724. He goes into the details about Blackbeard's life, and there seems to be a ton of similarities between the two bearded figures. Blackbeard, aka Edward Teach, not only had a similar look as Bluebeard, but was known to have married 14 different women. He would fall victim to the woman we met, and being unable to resist them, he would marry them. So instead of Bluebeard, where Bluebeard would trick the woman into marrying him, Blackbeard was like, oh, another beautiful woman. You must be my wife. Like he couldn't say no. He was like, true romantic.
Yeah, hoes in different area codes.
Yeah, 100%. They don't have carrier pigeons that go that far at the time. He was also rumored to have some hidden treasure because he was making bank committing piracy on the high seas.
Rumored.
So, they had a lot of similarities. Blackbeard was a way better guy than Bluebeard, is the first thing. Of course, there's pirate crimes and all that stuff.
The same guy, Kimmy.
No, because the thing is, Blackbeard was popular at the time the Bluebeard story was popular. So that's why people would confuse the two. Because they'd be like, Blackbeard the pirate or Bluebeard the pirate. It was just like two things happening at the same time that like would get easily confused with each other. I'm trying to think. It would be like if we had the Spider-Man with the different actors happen at the same time. Because it's like, they're so similar, people would easily get them confused. So that's why people think Bluebeard is a pirate, just because of confusion. Because two things pop in at the same time. And it's just
whatever helps you sleep at night. All right.
I did so much research on this.
I know.
And I just get whatever helps you sleep at night. If that's what you think. What are your sources?
My sources, I made it up.
My heart is my source. And then this will be one of those rare weeks where we actually skip.
Wait, let me guess it. I'm gonna guess that it's neither.
Yeah, it's neither.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Woo! 4 in a row, baby.
God damn it, Ryan.
Well, on the other hand, this will be one of those rare weeks where I actually have something for Modern Takes with Ryan, where we talk about modern stuff with takes. If it goes. There it goes. And we are going to talk about the feminine horror trope in horror movies. Feminine horror is horror that specifically engages with women's experience or women's concerns, whether it's a loved one harming you, impregnating you, sexual violence, and things of that nature. And if you couldn't tell already, a Bluebeard is in fact one of the OG feminine horror stories, and has been kind of the outline to many stories. And some of the more notable and recent ones are Ex Machina, Crimson Peak. The show You has a little bit of the same vibe. And Bluebeard is mentioned in some popular shows like Hannibal, Succession, and Grimm, which I think you like Grimm. I think we've talked about Grimm.
I enjoy Grimm a lot.
Yeah, when discussing men who prey on women. And I think these are some of the most topical horror stories we're kind of getting these days, which I don't know if reflects well on society, but that's where we're at. There's even an RPG that I found, like a tabletop one, called Bluebeards Brides, which is a game about escaping Bluebeards. So we'll have to find that someday and play it.
I want to play that so bad.
It looks fun. It had a Kickstarter. I was watching the videos on it. I'll send it to you.
We'll put a link in our show notes because I want to play that.
Yeah.
I want to rage through Bluebeard's castle.
The image on there that's like a drawing, that's the cover art for the game.
Well, we're going to put that as a link in our show notes because and on our blog post because I would love to play that. That sounds like a really fun session.
Yeah, but so for better or worse, it's safe to say that Bluebeard has been very influential on modern horror stories, especially those that revolve around men being terrible.
Wow. I didn't know that was a genre to horror.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's a lot of them, but the ones that I mentioned there are like kind of just the more popular ones. But they're just any horror movies that revolve around like just normal women's experiences turned into horror.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I see. This is why I like us doing the horror movie podcast because I feel like I learned so much.
Yeah, horror movies are the best.
They're cool. They're cool. Horror movies are great if you have people you can talk about it with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I feel like if you're just like watching it and you never like have conversations about it, it could like be a lot. But when you talk about it and how it reflects on society and stuff, it's super cool to get into. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Oh man! Wow. Well, whew. I'm glad we didn't make that episode as heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's modern takes. We don't have any episode or announcements this week, right? So we'll just
do you wanna we can do a quick lore report if you wanna throw on that sound.
Oh, I can't.
Your wolf howl. We got Liquor and Lore on Patreon.
Yes.
Y'all. We have it. You can come join Patreon for as low as $3 a month. You'll be not only supporting an indie podcast, but you will be able to get bonus after chat episodes where Ryan and I enjoy a drink and we do a fairy tale reading together. And that may evolve into more things, depending if we get more Patreons.
Maybe some fanfic.
Maybe some Mothman.
That's my goal.
Fanfic. That's a little spicy.
Too spicy for YouTube.
Too spicy for YouTube. So, listen, it's a great way to support the show. It kind of helps us because then we're getting a little bit more of a consistent income, as you may say, so we can keep this show running. It's just a great way to support the show. We have a mini promo till the end of this month where if you join, you get a little Mothman cowboy sticker in your welcome kit. So now is the time to join before the holiday season. We'll have a special thing involving the 12 Days of Krampus way later this year if you are a Patreon. So
been looking forward to that.
It's gonna be great, you guys. I'm taking it to the next level.
Oh boy. Tim Allen 12 days straight.
12 days of Tim fucking Allen. It's gonna be great. We have that, and then I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we wanna talk about? There's something else I can think of. I didn't write report stuff today.
No, I don't think so. I think that's the big thing we got going on right now. Everything else is smooth sailing.
Yeah, become a Patreon. Tell your friends about the show and write those 5-star reviews because that's how you can get. If you become a Patreon this month and you write a 5-star review and you tell me you comment it, you get 2 bonus stickers. So just do it. Just do it. All right, that's all I got. It's time for takeaways. Not takeaways. Damn, I'm jumping the gun.
I mean, it's
Aloreing alignment chart.
yeah, the alignment chart. There's not much to talk about. I mean,
Yeah.
the man's evil. I initially had him evil neutral because I was like, I mean, is he really chaotic? But I figure, I'd just go as far evil as I could get with this one.
Yeah, I the only reason I didn't put him more towards chaotic because I feel like he has like his laws that he uses to justify
That
his
is
murder.
true. Yeah,
And,
I guess technically lawful evil would make sense.
So I put him a little bit more towards lawful because he's not just like killing women. He might as well be, right? But he waits till they're married and they like break his rules, and then he's like, "Time for me to go murdering again." And it's like,
right.
no,
Well, that's fair.
It's not okay.
So yeah, lawful evil does make a little more sense, even if those laws he made up and they're terrible.
Yeah, like I feel chaotic's more like what's her name? Kuchisake Onna, the like knife girl,
just out there
she just
murdering
kills
people for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah, like the only way you will stop her murdering you is if you like just throw her off her game.
You look so nice. Is that the one where you compliment her and she stops? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just say
only if you mean the compliment. So like
smile.
That's chaotic.
Yeah,
she'll just kill you.
Yeah,
you know.
She has to believe you mean it.
Yeah. You have to see it in your soul.
Well, takeaways? What you got? I'll let you go first because I don't think you're gonna take mine.
Don't murder people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't murder people.
I learned. Turns out, having a beard doesn't inherently make you a good guy. So shit. His beard is blue, ladies. Get out of there.
We need to bring back the phrase Bluebeard for creepy guys.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I think that's that's your guys' mission.
Yeah, bring back Bluebeard.
Bring back
the name,
Bluebeard.
not the person.
Bring back Bluebeard name, not the person.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, this is great. I feel like we're leaving this one learning a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go play some adorable games and have a little bit of wine and pistachio ice cream.
Hell yeah.
But man, you guys, thank you so much for being on this little chaotic journey with us and for listening to us. This has been Aloreing.
Have just such an alluring day, and you know what? We'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.